The marketplace wars are well underway, but how does it affect the underlying NFT market? How does it affect volume, prices, and what can you actually do about it? In this video, we're going to look at the stats, the charts, all the details, so I can peel back a few layers so you can actually see what is actually happening on chain to give you a little bit of understanding and insight to what's actually happening with the blur farming that we've got going on and things like that. Now, first up, I'm going to be using Nansen to get a lot of my stats and statistics. I'll have links down below for Nansen and all that kind of thing. So when we're actually having a look, so over the last 3 months, what you can see here is the amount of volume that we've actually had in the market has been in somewhat of an uptrend. Not a crazy huge one, but somewhat of an uptrend. Now, when we actually go back to the 1 year view, so what's happened over the last calendar year, we can see that there has been this cool off period, 100%, once we got to here. So this is the tail end of the bull market last year, and then we have just been in a steady decline. It did look like we bottomed out towards the end of 2022, and we've been slowly picking it up right here. Now, if I actually show you what it looks like over all time, the charts start to mimic what you would see with a crypto chart. So what you can see right here, it's dead, nothing, then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get these big, huge, crazy spikes and then back down. Now look, I put out this tweet earlier showing the correlation between ETH price and the volume in the NFT market. So it looks like there is some correlation in some particular way, but it's very interesting to look at the NFT volume and almost imagine it like a crypto price chart, because NFTs in themselves are just altcoins with JPEGs attached. Now, the main wars that we've got are between OpenSea and Blur. Blur is this color up here. OpenSea is this color here. And what you will notice is that there has been a giant, massive chunk from this period on. And if we actually have a look at the date, this date coincides with season 2 of Blur. So this is when the airdrop happened for Blur. And then after that, everyone started to jump in and swapped over and started to trade on Blur. And this is partially because people found out that the airdrop was actually quite good. They actually made a slight bag, and they underestimated the airdrop that they were going to get. They got it, and there was a lot of liquidity, which then meant that they could then pump back into it. Hence why season 2 is getting pumped up. So as you can see, when Blur Season 2 kicked in, everyone started jumping onto Blur to trade there, to show their loyalty, to get that score up, to actually hopefully get themselves a bigger and better bag. Now, when we come down to the sales that have been happening in the market, this over the last 90 days is also in an uptrend itself. We did have a little bit of a peak up here, a trough, and then back into here. Now, this time period does not coincide with the Blur airdrop. This was around the 20th of February. But when you actually have a look and break down, it's actually mints that take up the majority of it. So OpenSea sales, which have stayed here, have stayed quite flat over this period. But minting has come in, and people are sort of more bullish, and people are minting more, which is actually what's happening in the space. But then when we come down to the percentage of bids that have been accepted on marketplaces, what we can see here is that as soon as the Blur Season 2 kicked in, the amount of bids accepted has just rocketed up. So for about a 1 month period, it was sitting quite low while no one was really incentivized to put in bids, take bids. And then we have had this rise up here, and this coincides directly with Blur Season 2. And if you don't understand, people are incentivized to place bids, which means that people are taking the instant liquidity and essentially building up some volume within their portfolios to then hopefully get a bigger airdrop. Now, what does all this volume and additional sales do for your bottom line? What does it do for your bags? Is it pumping prices? When we have a look at Nansen's trends and indexes, which is an index of different collections within the space, that over this past 6-month period, it has actually been sitting quite flat. We haven't seen huge, crazy fluctuations. And especially if we take into account Blur Season 2 and the increased volume and activity, there hasn't been an uptick, a trending up that you would think that we would see with additional volume coming into the space. When it comes to blue chips, it is a similar story. It is sitting quite flat since Blur Season 2 has been announced, and if anything, it almost looks a little bit more stable. There will be fluctuations, there will be volatility in a sense, but overall, it's not having these big, huge, crazy swings that we've seen in the past previously. It is still sitting quite flat. It does look a little bit more stable since people have been bidding and there is instant liquidity in the market. People don't need to floor an item because they can get a bid accepted straight away. People want their bid as close to the floor as possible, so it's reducing the spread on these trades. And to drive home this point that the additional volume of Blur isn't actually adding to the market's bottom line, if we have a look at Bored Ape Yacht Club, over the past sort of Blur farming period, it has been sitting quite flat. We haven't seen a big, huge, crazy swing up or a huge, crazy swing down. And when you actually have a look at this period over the last 3 months, it's still sitting within this range. It does have these fluctuations, it does go up and down, but it is still sitting within this range. You would expect with a doubling in volume that you would see at least a big swing up in price. And then when we are having a look at the individual transactions, yes, it is fluctuating, but it isn't fluctuating too hard when you look over the 3-month period. The reason I keep looking at this 3-month period is to show you that since the additional volume has come in and the instant liquidity via Blur farming, we haven't just seen a crazy uptrend in floor prices. The fact is the market is looking like it is still holding where it would hold. The same participants are in the market. They're continuously trading and they're looking to just squeeze out a few extra dollars here and there, even though it might look like there is a lot on a chart. There isn't that much that's actually being translated to a project's floor. Now, I know you're going to be screaming right now, yeah, Nate, but people are just wash trading on Blur. They're just trading back and forth between each other to get the tokens. Now, the cool thing with Nansen is they actually have a wash trading filter. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn that off. So you can see all of the action right here, right now. When we actually put the wash trading filter and turn it off, we can actually see a huge spike, a huge discrepancy in what is actually happening in the market. So what you can see here is that Blur is essentially 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times the amount of volume that you are seeing on OpenSea, but it isn't translating to prices. So this is the chart that people are referencing when they're saying volume is going up, but unless they have a wash trading filter on, then you're not going to get clear and accurate data. And then when I look at the 1-year chart, what you can see here is you can see this run up of Blur, and Blur is just taking a huge chunk here. But if you were around in 2022, you'll also notice here, this color here looks rare, which then promptly falls off right here when people aren't able to farm as many tokens to make as much. And this is with the wash trading filter off, just so I can show you what the data sets look like, because every time you look at a chart, you look at some information, you may be looking at correct information, but they may not have the correct data set that it's actually referencing, hence a wash trading filter or wash trading filter not on. And this can actually affect the way that you perceive the market and the way that you perceive your bags being pumped. And when we have a look here, if you were to look at this chart, you would think that we are back in bull run territory, but when you actually turn the wash trading filter on, you can see that we are a little bit better than we were, but nowhere near the sort of peaks that we were back in 2022. Now I'm going to take a moment to talk about the video sponsor. The video sponsor is FrankenDAO. FrankenDAO is a DAO that has over $1 million worth of assets under management, including 4 CryptoPunks. Their DAO is stacked with features like an E3 funder so stakers don't lose money on gas, a delegation feature allowing passive members to have a say, a council so whales can't rug the assets. The FrankenDAO is also legally registered as an unincorporated non-profit association. This gives the DAO legal clarity and allows the DAO to operate freely in the US, which is good for those US NFT holders. Now, down below, there are all the links for FrankenDAO, so go in and check it out. And full disclosure, I actually have some FrankenPunks staked within FrankenDAO. And to just go over some of the charts and numbers with the wash trading filter off, you can see here, it looks like it's just going straight up, straight crazy when we have a look at the percentage of bids accepted, that we're almost getting, at points in time, 40% of bids are accepted with the watch trading filter on. So people are going back and forth accepting those bids, trying to do it. So when you are seeing some of these numbers with volume, please take into account the fact that they may not be a watch trading filter on, and to be able to filter these out, it can be a little bit hard. And that's why I keep going on about, that's why I like Nansen. I trust it as a tool because it does have all of these features that you can enable to actually get clean data and data that can actually help you in your research. So why did I want to bring you this video? I want to give you a look at what is actually happening with volume and activity in the space, with the trading, with the floor prices, with the wash trading, just so you can get a clear understanding of the market, so you can then position yourself accordingly. Because day in, day out, you may hear, hey, the bull run's back on. Hey, we're in the depths of a bear. Hey, floor prices are pumping. Hey, we capped upside because of blur bid farming. It's so hard with all of the noise in the space, and I know that I am adding to that noise, but this is just meant to open your eyes a little bit, give you another perspective, another data set that you can then use to make your analysis when you actually want to move into particular trades, particular mints, particular projects. Because the more information that you have, the more powerful and more knowledge that you have, the better that you are going to be as a trader, and the more likely you are to succeed in the space. If you found value in this video, go down there, hit up that subscribe button, also hit up that like button. And if you like this content and you like more of these kind of deep dives and analysis on sort of market trends, market things, let me know in the comments below so I can do more of them, and I can actually jump into a few projects themselves if you would like. And as always, it's been a pleasure having you with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.